Hi, warriors. This is Jalen, my legal warrior. And today we have David, who has spent most of his career in mobile and wireless technology, working at companies such as Hewlett Packard and Select Tech. And he's a serial entrepreneur, having co founded three companies, including Cygnus Broadband, which developed video optimization technology for 4G and 5G networks. Most recently, Dave has been working as an executive advisor to startups in the 5G and Internet of Things space. In his spare time, Dave, excuse me, enjoys mountain and road biking, hiking, and skiing, and pretty much anything else that gets him outside. He has two kids, both of whom just graduated, and neither of whom call him as often as he would like. Thank you, David, for joining me on No Lives Matter Unless. How is your day going?
Doing great and super happy to be here.
I'm super happy to have you. And we'll just get started with my first question, which is how are you using your business and or socioeconomic status to fight against systematic racism?
Yeah, I've definitely been moved by the recent events we're seeing around the country and around the world related to systemic racism and the fight for racial justice. I'd say I'm trying to invest my energy, my time in three ways, really: listening, learning, and acting. First two are obviously related. On the listening front, it's really about acknowledging my position as a white male of privilege, really hearing what others are saying about their experiences with systemic racism and how it's affecting their lives and their family, their community, their opportunities. I'm spending time learning as much as I can as well. So right now I'm reading this ProPublica piece on the history of housing discrimination, about how systemized the bias has become over the last 100 years, how pernicious the effects of this discrimination have really been. So a lot of meaningful work I'm trying to do really for myself. I'd say there's probably two examples of personal action that I can point to. The first is actually not new. I've spent 7 years on the board of directors at Outdoor Outreach. We're a nonprofit helping underprivileged and at-risk youth in San Diego. By using the transformative power of the outdoors, we are helping the youth break from the negative influences and the cycles of poverty and gangs, drugs, and abuse. The communities that we serve are in large part communities of color. So, we've spent the last 20 years helping youth to find paths to emotional, educational, and life success in spite of the systemic racism that really so many of them face. As an organization, we've focused on diversity and equity and inclusion really since our founding. The recent events, they've sort of amplified the need to continue the work. Just this week, we had a board meeting where we spent time in breakout groups. We all discussed creative ways of how to bring DEI further into alignment with our mission. It's definitely a work in progress. The second action I'm taking, it relates to a business that I just started earlier this year. It's called CopyScrub. And we are a marketing company that helps Main Street businesses improve sales on e-commerce platforms like Amazon. We do that by improving messaging and product listing copy. So that's the words used to describe a product. So we're a for-profit, but I've always wanted there to be some purpose-driven aspect to our work. And I think the COVID pandemic and the surge in racial justice activism, that's kind of put a new opportunity into clear focus. It's early days, but we've developed what we think is a powerful idea that aligns our company's commercial goals with our personal beliefs. So we believe that one component of the solution to systemic racism is to find creative ways for people and communities of color to succeed creating and growing small businesses. These are businesses that are more often than not, they're under-resourced and underbanked. The COVID pandemic really has further exacerbated that problem. So our vision is also based on the idea that almost every successful small business selling a product needs a high-performance digital storefront to offer their goods and services. So we're building a consortium of digital and e-commerce service providers like CopyScrub who can assist new and upcoming minority-owned businesses to build a strong online presence, sort of develop their messaging and a brand that, like we like to say, it punches above their weight class. So we'll offer these services either free or heavily discounted in order to give these companies a leg up to compete with what maybe more well-funded competitors. In our minds, the real key to the success of this whole effort is we need to find corporate and nonprofit partners who share our purpose and who can help us to spread the message. We'd love nothing more than to have an Amazon or an American Express, maybe even a Facebook, to help market our message. And similarly, we expect there is going to be business-oriented nonprofits or maybe municipal groups, government groups, who can also help, right? Maybe there's someone in your audience who can help with an introduction or two.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that with us and for our viewership. I also sit on the board with Dave here, and it is a fantastic organization, Outdoor Outreach, and I definitely love your new venture that you're getting into. And I hope that does, in fact, work out and we can serve those underserved communities. So since you're a successful entrepreneur, would you say that there is a gap to be bridged for minority-owned businesses? And if yes, in what way?
Yeah, so it's commonly said in the startup world, but it's kind of counterintuitive to the average person that ideas are a dime a dozen. And so there's nothing against creativity, and great ideas are important, but companies are built on the back of great execution. And that really takes knowledge, it takes connections, and it takes capital. So depending on the circumstance, even all three of these can be in short supply to startups and small businesses that are owned by people of color. Maybe let's just take a look at capital as an example. So Black Americans have an average net worth 1/10 that of white Americans. So there's very little capital to get businesses launched. That's, personal capital is really how small business starts in America. So adding on top of that, the banks that serve communities of color are known to be undercapitalized. So even once a business gets rolling, accessing additional capital is a problem. So there are some reasons for hope. Just in the news in the last couple of weeks, Netflix just announced their plan to bank $100 million of their holdings with Black-owned financial institutions, right? Getting the money into the system. There's a private equity investor, a billionaire named Robert Smith. He's Black. He has proposed and is building support around the idea of large corporations donating 2% of their annual profits to Black-owned businesses. So, yeah, there are many challenges, to answer your question, for minority-owned businesses to execute at the same level needed to compete effectively. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that shining a light on these issues in particular continues to bring, strong and creative solutions.
Well, if our viewership had wanted to further the discussion and perhaps get involved, even invest, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can certainly find me on LinkedIn, just under my name, and you can also email me at CopyScrub. So I guess you can throw up a link and provide that email address out.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for effectuating a positive change and inspiring us, educating us, and empowering us to take action. And I look forward to collaborating with you very soon. So thanks again.
You're welcome. Great to be here.